Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. And as several of you pointed out in the comments, it is an early start to the morning, but if you're running a 24-hour race, you have to start the day early. And the Conliff eSports team is ready to take on Spa. Giancarlo will be starting the race out for qualifying at the moment. We will have the first couple of hours of the race this morning, and we'll have the final couple of hours tomorrow morning prior to the GT3 NSS race. So tomorrow will be a very big day of racing. Obviously a 24-hour race as Giancarlo's out on track for qualifying. Hey, good morning, Necron. How are you this morning? Giancarlo out on his qualifying laps with just under 5 minutes left to go before what promises to be a wild start here at Spa. They will have the rolling start, and into turn one, things do get chaotic. In fact, talking to the drivers a moment ago, Giancarlo said, whatever you do not pull in anybody to interview during the first few minutes of the race. He needs all the spotters possible to get through that first lap. And that first lap is always chaotic. Hope everybody is doing great. We are doing great here as well. All the drivers are excited and ready to go. The Conliff eSports team was about 13th to 14th throughout practice, and everybody is relieved at the moment. There is no rain, and last we checked, no rain in the forecast for the next 24 hours. Hey, good morning, Sketch. Doing great, Necron. Giancarlo is up first, followed by Simon Zierk, Andrew Lau, Mike Dolling, Nick Sorensen, and Adam Barker. Now, even though we are only broadcasting the first couple of hours, folks, make sure you're following on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. We will be catching up with the team throughout the day and putting out some updates as their race goes on. Now, Giancarlo has completed qualifying. Let's see if I can get a quick word with him. Giancarlo, you just completed qualifying. You got a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you're in a hurry, but man, a decent qualifying run out here, and I know you guys usually make the race on patience and strategy, but it's Spa, and that first lap can be deadly.
Yep, I learned that a couple times this week during doing just a couple sprint races, but hopefully we will all be cautious on the start, given it is a 24-hour race, and that's a lot of time. So hopefully it'll work out for us.
I hope so, man, and good luck. I know you've got some work left to do. Good luck this morning, and hopefully it stays dry today.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
Giancarlo getting ready to go racing. And it is interesting to note, he has 3 spotters to start the race. And I have to tell you, and I cannot show you this due to team information, but I'm looking over the team spreadsheet. And I have to give it to Simon Zierk. The data he puts together for these races is amazing. They know their pit stop times down to 100th of a second. They have their tire strategy filled out right down to the letter. Same with fuel strategy. They even have calculations for different fuel strategies throughout the 24 hours to either gain extra laps or gain extra time on track. Definitely going to be an interesting morning here today. And as I mentioned, the start of Spa, always exciting, and let's get ready to go. Qualifying is over. It's time for the Conliff eSports team to get to work. It is always funny seeing that 24 hours to go here at any endurance race. We're not going to read through the whole lineup. I don't know a lot of these drivers. I was looking through the field this morning to see if there's any familiar names out here. But we do have Giancarlo starting in 22nd. We'll take a close look at his car, but looking through, they are in one of the higher splits. I did not get the split number, but the I ratings for these groups, 4,000 and above for most of these drivers. So these are the upper echelons of the iRacing community. There they all are out on track. We're going to see if we can get our cameraman to run out real quick and show you. There sits the Conliff eSports Ferrari. He probably ought to run back to the pits now. Don't forget to check out Conliff eSports, conliff-racing.com, and their partner, Advanced Sim Racing, who has some great gear, and I am not allowed to go look at their stuff. Drivers still getting to the grid. We'll take a quick look. Weather, current temperature is 68 degrees and track temperature currently 85. Looks like a couple of cars will be starting from pit road. But 40, it looks like 2 cars starting from pit road. 1 car did not grid, and 46 cars will start on the grid this morning. Pace car leading them around as they come. The pace car about to hit pit road. There's Giancarlo coming through the final chicane. Getting ready for this to pop off. Looks like they will start on the other side of turn 1. And here we go. Green flag is in the air for the 24 hours of Spa. Giancarlo heads down the hill up toward Eau Rouge. Everybody so far has made it through 3 wide already down the straightaway as we've got several cars coming off pit road now to start the race. Those guys who decided to start from pit road as they're going 3 wide up ahead. And already several cars are off. Giancarlo managing to avoid it. And it looks like a little weirdness. Some very oddball glitch going on here. Giancarlo did manage to survive and has made his way up to 16th. And unfortunately, we're going to have to make a quick check of something, so stay with us for a moment, trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. This morning, and I have to wonder if the drivers are also seeing it out on track. We may try and get a word with the team here in a moment.
Can't take your insanity. Your pathetic heart is a mystery. Darkness lives behind your eyes. My soul was never yours to buy.
It would not be an endurance race without some sort of weirdness.
Vengeance! Vengeance! Anger story written on your face. I dodge a bullet, you ricochet. Your kind of pain is like a heart attack. If I were you, I'd watch my back. Vengeance! Vengeance!
We'll be back with the team here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. As Giancarlo does appear, he survived that first couple of laps. Or rather, that first couple of turns.
Oh, vengeance is mine, and I forever.
Hopefully the field is not having Jason, that was super weird.
I'll tear you apart. Vengeance! 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 Vengeance!
And it looks like whatever is going wrong has finally smoothed out. We are back. As Giancarlo, as mentioned, survived a lot. He is already up 8 spots into 14th. Making that big jump purely on strategy. We saw him as they came through that first chicane. Everybody, they were 3 wide going into the first chicane. Giancarlo losing a position there. The team did say they're not going to push 4 positions in the early going. They are sticking with their usual strategy, just being careful, being safe in the early going. They'll let anybody by that has the pace. Not going to fight for positions here. A wise move in a 24-hour race. And a good strategy is we already have, looks like about 5-6 cars on pit road from the first lap. Jack Wells just ahead of Giancarlo, really came through a lot of the chaos, up 11 spots into 15th as there's a wreck right in front in the final chicane. Up front, the front two, the top 2 qualifiers are in the lead and have a bit of a gap on third place Levi Neal. Now, most of these teams today will employ, the drivers will take 2 to 3 hour stints over the next 24 hours. Conliff came today, they came loaded for bear with 6 drivers in the field. A 6-driver team ready to go at it. That'll keep the entire team fresh throughout the entire race. Giancarlo obviously starting the race, then followed by Simon Zier, Andrew Thornton, Mike Dolling, Nick Sorensen, and Adam Barker rounding out the field. Drivers now on their 3rd lap. Looks like 43 cars still on the lead lap, still trying to stay in this. And with this higher I rating group and higher split, these drivers likely to show a bit more patience. However, we did see how they went into the first chicane on lap 1. Looks like another driver has just gone to pit road. One has come back out. And it looks like one team is already out of the race. Now this is a very Ferrari-dominated field. The Ferraris did not qualify well, but man, right behind Giancarlo, it is mostly Ferrari. Quite a few Corvettes in the field this morning as well, including the current leader in a Corvette. No surprise to see them out here this morning. Also, no surprise to see a Mercedes in the field. I am surprised only one with the long straightaways here. The Mercedes definitely has a bit of a power advantage. Giancarlo coming back down the hill toward Eau Rouge. Looks like we've got more cars coming off pit road. Could be a problem coming up here. No, looks like everybody clear. And a lot of chaos going on back behind. We'll take a look quickly at a couple of incidents that have recently happened. Back in, no surprise, back in on the Ford stepping out. We have seen that Mustang have several problems already this season, so to see it's back in stepping out here, no surprise. And then we had another car get by, it looks like a Ferrari. Snapped loose and got the inside wall. And another Mustang looked like he was in the grass coming into the chicane. Giancarlo still sitting back in 15th. Already up 7 positions though from his starting spot. The Conliff team strategy usually falls to pushing it a little bit in the early laps, then settling into a rhythm. As you know, they are watching closely, they pass right ahead. The Corvette, currently driven by Jack Wells, now up 13 spots. Meanwhile, that BMW directly ahead of Giancarlo, started in 5th, has fallen all the way back to 14th. It appears to be having some struggles this morning. Out front, the top two still nose to tail, and they do have some breathing room. On third place, he is now 1.6 seconds behind. Fourth, fifth, and fourth and fifth right there together. Sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth also not far behind. Tenth, 11th, 12th, 13th, and then you get back here 13th, 14th, and 15th with Giancarlo right there. Looked like Giancarlo tried to set up the run on the BMW. Looking back through the field, a couple of teams really starting to make their move toward the front. The team in the 5 car currently up 10 spots. They're in 17th. The 15, currently driven by Florian Mouse, is up 15 spots into 25th. Lucky number 13, one of the Porsches in the field, driven by Jorge Alvarez, up 16 spots already. Several cars up 10 or more spots in the early going just by avoiding the chaos, like we saw with Giancarlo. Drivers, we're talking this morning a lot about tire wear and tire strategy, and that could be a huge, huge issue today. Spa is known for being pretty hard on the tires. Oh, contact right behind Giancarlo. Wow, coming into the chicane side by side, let's take a look. There they were right behind the Ferrari. Gets a run up to the inside. They just make contact. Several drivers having to avoid. They both get rolling again, but both drivers losing a lot of ground. Meanwhile, Giancarlo setting up for a move, and Giancarlo makes the pass into 13th. So Giancarlo starting to make some moves out on track. And it looks like there may be something going wrong. Hey, good morning, Chip, bro, man. Looks like there may be an issue this morning with iRacing. See if we can talk to one of the drivers on the team. Hey, Andrew, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug.
Hey, first off, a really good start to the race so far.
Yeah, it's been good. We avoided a major lap 1 mess through Lacombe. We gained 9 spots to this point.
Yeah, you guys definitely on the move, but we have seen some glitches, and I'm hearing reports of other people having glitches this morning in their 24 hours. Are you guys seeing any problems on track?
I don't know anything about any glitches, so seems like we're all good on our end so far, knock on wood.
Definitely. Well, a great race so far, man. I know it's a while before your stint, but what have you learned so far about Washington Giancarlo?
We're just trying to look at who to avoid and who we can race with. That BMW behind us had a bit of damage, and he's just holding us up, so we're just keeping an eye on other drivers at this point.
Well, man, good luck. Keep up the good work and stay out of trouble.
Yep, that's the plan. Thanks, Doug.
Andrew Lau will be hopping in the car third in line. And apparently the team not having any issues. So we're going to try this again really quick. We're going to make a very quick effort here to see if we can figure out and fix the issue going on here. Something has definitely gone a little wonky on iRacing, as seen. And few reports of other people having the issue, but they are few and far between. And I have to say, all the iRacing broadcasts I've done, all the endurance races and endurance broadcasts I've done, this is the first time we have ever seen an issue, so... That's all I'd love to if the opportunity ever presented itself. And we will be with the team for the first driver change. We will talk to Giancarlo after he comes off track. And then, as I mentioned, if you're following on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube, we will be putting out updates on Facebook and Twitter likely throughout the day. And we will be back with the team tomorrow morning for the final 2 hours prior to the GT3 NSS race. And the VRR Cup race is tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern. So tomorrow's going to be a busy day of racing. Well, we'll see how this goes. Obviously, technical issues are a big deal, especially during these endurance races. But as we mentioned, iRacing does their absolute best to minimize those. Giancarlo has picked up another spot. He is now up into 12th. Looks like due to problems ahead of him. And another car has just towed the pit road. Let's see if we can see what happened. Coming to the chicane, that has been a big problem point. Ooh, that Ferrari has a little bit of a bobble and pulls off track. There was a little bumping back behind it as well. Giancarlo currently in 12th. The 11th place car is a Porsche, and they are currently closing the gap on 11th and 10th. 10th place is that car we talked about a little bit ago. Jack Wells, who is currently up 16 spots. Corvette has definitely been a fast car since it came to GT3 racing this season. Giancarlo currently 2 1/4 seconds behind the 10th place car, but that gap is closing. Could see them in the top 10 before the first driver change. And as the Conliff team strategy goes, they will make up some ground on pit stops, on fuel strategy. The team usually playing the race in such a way they make at least one, often 2 less stops than the rest of the field, while maintaining that high pace that keeps them moving forward through the field. Tenth and 11th just ahead. Giancarlo still closing. And after that incident behind him in 13th place now have a 2-second gap back to 14th. They actually have a little bit of breathing room here. And I'm seeing a lot of off tracks here in the early going this morning. Now there is an incident limit of 100. 100 incidents, and you do get a drive-through penalty. And it looks like another driver has headed to pit road. And that is that Mustang we saw earlier. He was ahead of Giancarlo at the start, but has dropped way back and is now on pit road. As we mentioned, we've been watching all season long the GT3 and SS races. On Sunday morning, we have seen that new Ford really struggle, especially finding grip through the turns. It just has no rear grip. Mike Marshall, who tried to make that Mustang work this season, told me last week, it is just broken. Very surprised to see any Fords in the field this morning. But of the 5 Fords that started the race, only 2 remain on track. Excuse me, 4 Fords started the race. However, a large number of Corvettes on track, including the current leader. Colin Arnold continues to lead. Robina Jansen's currently in second place, and my apologies. Some of these names were just seeing for the first time ever this morning. The top 2 have a 3.5 second lead over 3rd and 4th at the moment. 5th out there by himself. Looks like 6th, 7th, and 8th all together. 9th not far behind. 10th and 11th right behind, with Giancarlo closing in while putting distance between him and 13th. Giancarlo currently on lap 14, roughly halfway through the first stint. We will likely start seeing fuel stops around lap 24 to 25, and that will tell the tale who has the strategy to go the distance and save some time today and who does not. We're also likely to see in the laps coming to lap 25, likely to see who has pushed the tires too hard. Could see a lot of problems. Simon Zierk is in the car next. Let's see if we can get a word with him. Hey, Simon, it's Doug. You got me? Hey, Simon, it's Doug in the booth. You got me?
Hello, Doug.
Hey. So, obviously, an exciting start to the race, but Giancarlo is moving forward, and you're up next. How you feeling?
I'm up next, so I don't know. No, Andrew is next. So this is the first stint now for Giancarlo. Then he still has a second stint, and then is the driver change to Andrew. But up to now, it looks really good. We try to hit our fuel target now, so we get done with our fuel calculation and fuel strategy. And then, yeah, we have to look how the track will look like in, I think, 1.5 hours when it will start to rain.
Oh, Well, how much did the team practice for the potential for rain?
Yeah, we all did some practice laps in rain, so we are familiar with the rain driving line. But most of the success in rain is strategy. So when do you change to rain tires, and what are then the settings for anti-roll bar and wing?
Well, I know you guys have all of that ready to go. Man, good luck. Obviously a crazy but great start to the race, and hopefully you continue moving forward.
Thank you, Doug.
Simon Zierk, and getting the weather update that we're going to see rain in the 24 hours of Spa. Oh boy, things will get busy then. You have to wonder how many drivers will make it through how many teams will survive that first few minutes of rain. How does the strategy play out? How does the tire strategy play out? Who pushes just a little too far on those dry tires and end up with problems? Can see a little bit of the cloud cover off in the distance. Some of these drivers are already pushing the track limits substantially. Once the rain hits, that little bit of pushing the track limits is likely going to become going a little too far, and it may put some of them into the fencing. Colin Arnold and Rabina still out front, continue to extend their lead. Now almost 8 seconds over third. The top two definitely starting to make some moves, pulling away, but you have to wonder, are they overusing the car? Will they be on pit road too early? Giancarlo has started to lose a little bit of ground on 10th and 11th place. But as we heard, he is kind of settling in to the fuel strategy, but he has to maintain some pace. 13th is closing in and bringing a whole lot of cars with him. Obviously still sunny out for the moment. The air temperature still cool. The track temperature actually has started to go down a little bit despite the cars going around and laying rubber down. Hey, thank you, Ship. But while the number of off tracks appears to be going up throughout the field, the number of incidents seems to be going down. Have not seen any wrecks, although we did just see looking through the field, there is one driver that just retired, looks like, from the race. And there you see the clouds coming. That's gonna get fun. Now, if you've never driven around Spa, Giancarlo can take you for a very, very fast run. Down and back up Eau Rouge, using every bit of the track possible. Down the straightaway toward the first chicane. One of the fastest parts of the track. Into the chicane where they saw that big incident on lap number 1. Back on the power and back down the hill. This turn off camber, very, very tricky. I imagine it'll get trickier in the rain. Down the hill, another left-hander. This is an easy corner to run wide on. Giancarlo keeping it in the track limits. Back down to the far end of the track, and it looks like there's trouble ahead. The car that had problems, this has gone, so he is okay. Then on to the straightaway. Continuing coming up to speed throughout these turns. Just feathers the throttle there as he gets all the speed he can before getting hard onto the brakes into the final chicane. Right, left, trying to carry as much speed as possible back on throttle. And coming down to the final turn. And back on the power, back down the hill. Giancarlo did that lap in 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 19.3 seconds. Fastest lap of the morning was actually just set by second place at 2 minutes 18.2 seconds. And Mercedes, as we mentioned earlier, does have a power advantage. And it looks like the whole team has gathered As Giancarlo gets closer and closer to the end of the first fuel run, the whole team is together discussing strategy at the moment. Giancarlo has a very strong team, including Simon Zierk, who does most of the calculations, crunching the numbers, seeing how far they can stretch it. But this is a track you've got to be extremely cautious on how far you stretch your fuel. The further away from pit road you are, the longer that tow to pit road could be if you run out of fuel. And we have just had another crash back behind. Like coming up through the chicane, the final chicane, and it looked like he had some help with that. Taking a look down, let's get the chopper view. The blimp's a little high up this morning and a little bit of fog. From the chopper, there they come. Oh yeah, the Ferrari on the power just gets right into the bumper and turns the BMW around. Thirteenth place, Rishan Jacob has caught up to Giancarlo. Ran him down from over 2 seconds back. And I expect they will let him by very, very soon. They can use the other car ahead of them to help conserve a little extra fuel. And I have no idea what that is on the hood of his car. You definitely see some strange paint jobs in the 24-hour races. Giancarlo coming back down the hill at the moment. The Porsche, driven by Jochen Hummel, has moved into 10th. Jack Wells slipping back into 11th. Jack is that driver that has come up quite a few spots. He's now up 15 spots. It looks like the car right behind Giancarlo has started to blink just a little bit. And looks like he's going to try and get the move in the chicane, but couldn't complete it. Giancarlo sees, moves over. He's going to let him by so that he doesn't try another risky pass maneuver. They do have a 3-second gap on this group of cars back behind. So Giancarlo wisely will stay in the slipstream of the other Ferrari. Will allow him to conserve some fuel and will help them continue to put distance on the cars behind. That is the leader. Down at the far end of the track, headed back. And we are likely to start seeing pit stops any lap now. Pit stops will be crucial throughout the 24 hours. Some drivers, some teams will choose to stay on a set of tires. Some will choose to change the tires. Plus, there is that question of the rain. And depending on how long they're on rain tires, that could shorten stints as rain tires wear faster. Looks like another driver has had a crash back behind. And again, looks like it's coming into that final chicane. Oh! Let's see. All right, keep an eye on the position of the wheel. Yep, as I thought, it looked like he had turned left into the BMW. Wow. I'm gonna guess there was some sort of incident between those two drivers earlier on, but that was definitely an intentional hit to turn the car and not let him by. Giancarlo, meanwhile, still staying in the slipstream. Hey, good morning, Cody Kennedy. Giancarlo since letting... Oh, here we go, pit stops. Jean Reyes is the first driver in the top 10, and the leader is in. Colin Arnold is in. Giancarlo wisely let Rashawn get by and has stayed in a slipstream. Lap number 24, a lot of cars coming in. And it looks like the lead team has changed drivers as well as tires. And it is a surprise to see a driver swap this early. First round of pit stops really shaking things up here. That team that led from the get-go is now back out on track. A new driver and a new set of tires in the car. Although that first stint is probably one of the most stressful parts of the race, I am surprised to see a driver swap this early. A lot of cars outside the top 10 coming in now as well. Third place is on pit road, along with 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place. Jack Wells choosing to stay out. Everybody in front of Giancarlo is in. Giancarlo, we know, can stretch at least one, possibly two more laps. Giancarlo currently scored in 4th by virtue of staying out. By my math and by the notes the team has, if everything is still on schedule, Giancarlo will stay out one more lap before coming to pit road. The question is, will the three cars ahead of him be able to do the same? And interestingly, several drivers in the field already hitting that 100 incident mark just due to exceeding track limits. As second place, now leader Robina is on pit road. Robina had been second most of the morning since the drop of the green. Now the question is, who else do we see? Does Jack Wells come in? Yes, he does. Will Giancarlo come in? No, Giancarlo can go the extra lap. And that one extra lap per stint is going to make a huge, huge difference by the end of the race. Remember, the driver that was leading earlier, the team that was leading earlier, rather, stopped about 3 laps ago. So being able to stretch that extra 2 to 3 laps and possibly more every stint. As we mentioned very early on, this team plays the strategy to hopefully have 1 to 2 extra, or 1 to 2 less pit stops. That is the car that was leading with the new driver in it. Now into third, and there has been some big problems on track a moment ago. This is one of the cars coming into the final chicane. Oh, he gets loose, and there is a stack up. This is one of the cars caught in this stack up. It was also one of the cars in front of Giancarlo, as was the car right behind. Those are all cars that Giancarlo had been racing with prior to pit stops. And Giancarlo is on pit road. He extends it beyond everybody. Giancarlo working his way down toward his pit. He is up for tires, fuel, no driver change right now. We'll see where he ends up after pit stops, but he is going to make up a bit of ground on the long run simply by this strategy. The question is, how much does he pick up here in the short term? Giancarlo is rolling. Coming up to speed, coming off the pit lane. As Jack Wells just goes by, and Giancarlo comes back out on track in 10th. So not only did he extend this fuel window, he picked up a spot under that pit stop exchange. And the Conliff eSports team strategy continues to help them out. Also, we do have a new leader. This was a driver that actually started from pit road, so he has not been in yet. And here he comes. He is back on pit road. That lead car currently hey, good morning, Lisa. I will take a look later on. Michael Clubb comes through the final turn, and he will reclaim the lead for that team. A new driver in the second place car as well. Most of the top 10 still original drivers for those teams. But it does look like both of the top teams changed drivers after the first run as Giancarlo moves into ninth. Now that car we did see pass Giancarlo earlier. Giancarlo beat him on pit strategy, which also may have saved Giancarlo. That was one of those cars involved in that incident we saw a few moments ago in the final chicane. And it does look like he took some damage to the nose. That's definitely going to have an impact on their downforce. Just taking a look through the field really quick. As seventh place appears to be gaining some ground on fifth and sixth. Giancarlo in ninth is gaining on Jack Wells in eighth. Looking at the exact strategy numbers, now that pit stops have been completed, Giancarlo, the only driver to go 27 laps on a tank. The leader went 24 laps on a tank of fuel. Most of the top 10 was 25 laps. Meaning that if the Conliff eSports team can keep this car going 2 extra laps, they will be able to cut out at least one, potentially 2 pit stops throughout the 24 hours. Hey, Necron, welcome back. Oh, so well, when you get done, you want to come do mine? Rashawn Jacobs back in 10th is not gaining the ground on Giancarlo like we had previously seen. But Giancarlo has put a huge dent into Jack Wells. But it is also worth noting, well, it was a nice thought, Necron. It is worth noting that the leaders are now into lap traffic pretty substantially. And there you see 36th place. Joshua Easy just ahead of 9th and 10th. And the leaders starting to navigate through more and more lap traffic. Giancarlo has gained almost a full second on Jack Wells, just ahead. Let's see if we can get a quick word with one of the drivers. Mike Dolling appears to be available. Let's see what he thinks. Hey, Mike, it's Doug. You got me? Hey, Mike, it's Doug in the booth. You got me? Well, it appears Mike Dolling has stepped away for a moment. His stint is not for a while. Giancarlo continuing to close the gap on Jack Wells at the moment. Looking at some of the numbers, the top two currently have all the speed. Yeah, Jason, they really are in really good position. The top two are looking very fast. But the leader now is the lead team now is a 5-second lead. Second place is gaining ground, but they're having to push it, and as we have seen, that pushing is costing them fuel. Giancarlo's stunt, based on lap times, really is not pushing the car at all, but is gaining on the car ahead. Lap traffic coming into play just a little bit, but and lap traffic is allowing 7th place to pull away. 5th, 6th, and 7th still nose to tail. But again, those three drivers, 5th, 6th, and 7th, while they pull away, they're using more fuel. This team has been able to stretch their window further than anybody else. I suspect that will be a deciding factor. Even one less pit stop over the course of 24 hours is going to save almost 2 minutes, almost a full lap. Back in 11th, the new name is moving forward. Chris Boland in the 86 car. He is up 14 spots into 11th and has a ton of pace. He was the fastest car in the field except for the top two the last couple of laps. He is also able to stretch his fuel to 25 laps, better than what the leader's currently doing. Giancarlo now having to deal with that lap traffic, and as we mentioned earlier, as we have seen all morning, that Ford, it just does not have rear grip that has to be worrying the team. Being right behind a car that the back end could step out on him any time. Andrew Lau will be hopping into the car next. Let's see if we can get another word with him. Andrew, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug.
Hey, you're in the car next. Are you ready to go?
Not quite. I want to get some breakfast in me, and then breakfast and coffee, and then we'll be good.
Well, I have to say, it's been a great start to the race. Can you maintain that same pace and the fuel strategy that Giancarlo's doing?
Yeah, we've been practicing a lot together. I'm pretty confident in the fuel save strategy. I think we can pull it off.
I have to say, from the looks of it, if you survive that lap car right in front of you, I have to say the strategy looks like you're going to be at least one, possibly two pit stops less than the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's if it stays dry the whole time, but we are expecting rain sometime at night, so that might change how everything goes. But we're going to try to make up all the positions we can now with pit stops in the dry.
Okay, so the rain is now expected at night. I thought it was coming very soon.
Yeah, no, they changed the forecast now. It's 0% chance of rain during my stints now.
Oh, well, that's a plus. I'm sure that's a huge breath of relief for you.
Yeah, I did do some rain practice, but we'd much rather drive in the dry.
I don't blame you there. Well, good luck. Go eat some breakfast, and good luck in the race.
Thanks, Doug.
Andrew Lau better get his breakfast in quickly. Giancarlo does get by the lap car, but is now over 2 seconds behind Jack Wells as another driver has a problem back behind. Oh, into that. Oh. Just stamps on the brakes to avoid the car ahead. You gotta hand it to him. He did not touch the car ahead of him. Stamps on the brakes, goes around, but quickly recovers. And that was the 5th place car that involved in that incident a moment ago. 6th place, right on his bumper. 4th place, now driven by Mark Ulrich, up 12 spots into 4th. That Mercedes on the march. We started this race, and in the first stint had 3 Corvettes in the top 5, but now it's a little bit different. 2 Mercedes in the top 5. It is Corvette, Mercedes, BMW, Mercedes, Ferrari, top 5 right now. Definitely going to be an interesting thing to see towards the end of this race tomorrow morning. Which cars are in the best position? As you heard, rain has been delayed. Sounds like the forecast has dramatically changed, so we will not see rain during this stint. Giancarlo will be back in the car after Andrew Lau, and that is potentially, that will be the night stints, be the start of the night rate portion of the race, and likely when they will see the rain. Most of these drivers likely would just assume the race stay dry. Spa is definitely a challenging track, even in the best conditions. Not a track I would want to take on in the rain. The Ferrari back behind that ran Giancarlo down earlier in the race was involved in that incident after pit stops. Now 4.3 seconds back and not gaining any ground. However, due to the lap traffic, Giancarlo got held back. 8th place, Jack Wells is now 2.5 seconds ahead. The leader still has a gap, but the 2nd place car is starting to reel him back in, now 4.5 seconds behind. Both the leader and the 2nd place car coming through some significant lap traffic. Looks like we already have 5 or 6 teams out of the race. Several teams still on pit road. And at the moment, 35 teams on the lead lap. Given the chaos of lap 1, a great job by all 36 teams still on the lead lap, maintaining that. In about 10 laps, the pit stop cycle will begin again. And as we see teams going through that second pit stop cycle, really you start to see how the race is going to play out. As we saw with the lead team, they have a shorter fuel window than most of the teams back behind. In fact, the only team on the same strategy is the 7th place team at the moment, whereas the Conliff eSports team strategy is they are stretching beyond everybody else. Literally no other team in the field is able to stretch the fuel as far as they have thus far. And what was 2 to 3 laps on that first pit stop becomes 4 to 6 laps on the second, 6 to 9 laps on the third stop, so on and so forth until they extend to a point where everybody else is on pit road except their team. Definitely going to be interesting to watch it play out throughout the day. Now, we will not be live throughout the race. However, we will be posting updates on Facebook and Twitter. So make sure you're following on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. Chris Boland just moved into the top 10, getting past Rashawn, who got damaged in that incident right after pit stops. That is definitely another huge win for the Conliff eSports team by stretching the fuel. They do not come off pit road with everybody else. Fewer potential incidents. Also seeing a few teams close to potential drive-through penalties due to off tracks. One of the cars not far behind Giancarlo had a problem a moment ago. There's that blue Ferrari. Looked like he just got too much of the rumble strip. Spun it out, but got her going again. Did not lose any positions, but lost a ton of track time. And looks like we're starting to see a little bit of a glitch again. Hopefully this one clears up quickly. Looks like another driver having a problem back behind. No impact to the Conliff team, and looks like we're going to have to try and fix this again. Our apologies. This is a first. We will continue to talk to you while we get this fixed. No idea what the root cause. I know a few drivers in the 24 hours this morning have seen a few issues. And every time one of these big endurance events happens, there's always some minor hiccups. We have been very lucky to avoid them thus far. But it looks like today was our day. Getting back in at the moment, everybody still should be. While we're doing that, would be a good time to go hit that follow button on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. Remember, we will be providing updates on the team throughout the day. We might even check in with them later tonight, and of course, we'll be with them for the finish tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is a big day of racing. We're at the end of the 24 hours of Spa. GP2 NSS shortly thereafter, and BRR Cup Series tomorrow evening. Everything seems to be working again. Again, our apologies. No idea what is causing the glitch here. Giancarlo still holds in 9th place. That 499 car still in the lead. The Mercedes back behind, though, still closing the gap. That group 5th, 6th, and 7th has spread out a little bit. But they do have to worry. 8th and 9th are closing in. That includes Giancarlo currently in 9th. And in about 3 to 5 laps, we will start to see pit stops cycling through yet again. Taking a look down from the blimp. As Giancarlo comes through that final turn. Or the final chicane, rather. The 8th place car still driven by Jack Wells, now up 18 spots into 8th. Giancarlo 13 spots into 9th, and 10th place up 15 spots. These are the drivers that managed to avoid that lap 1 incident. And while we'll start to see some pit stops here in just a few laps, Giancarlo's still about 12 laps away from pitting. A few of the drivers much further back in the field, short pitting now, trying to make up some ground, including the 35th place car. Does look like he has some damage. As we mentioned a while ago, lap traffic is becoming a problem for the leaders. And that is a struggle they will see for the rest of the day as they come through lap traffic. A lot of that lap traffic will also be battling for position. Taking a quick look at the weather situation, the track temp continuing to come down as the air temp has dropped as well. Track temperature down almost 10 degrees from where the driver started. As long as it stays dry, after the next stop, we will see some very fast laps. Hey, good morning to the beautiful unicorn. Giancarlo's gap to 8th place, holding steady at the moment. The team's pace seems to be extraordinarily consistent. And that will be the key throughout the 24 hours, that consistent pace. And their amazing fuel strategy could see them on the podium before this is over. The leader comes across, and he is about 5 laps now from pitting. Wow. Comes by a heavily damaged lap car. Remember, endurance races, they do not have a fast repair. If they're involved in an incident, they are going to spend a lot of time on pit road for repairs. The 7th place car, Jean Reyes, has had a couple of problems going off track here recently. He is closing in on 6th place. Flashing his lights, looks like he is trying to distract the driver ahead. He is closing in on Neil very quickly. Oh, and you can tell Neil is pushing that car. The back end starting to step out on it a bit. Titus Sherlock, who's currently in 11th, is one of the drivers that lost a lot of ground on lap 1 in the chicane. He started in 8th. He had dropped back as far as about 17th, but has managed to fight his way back up. Currently running in 11th, right on the bumper of the 10th place car. Titus is extremely fast. In fact, he is faster than the next 5 cars in front of him, including Giancarlo. Let's see if Adam Barker, who will be taking his stints overnight, let's see if he is available. Hey Adam, it's Doug, you got me? Sounds like Adam is resting in preparation for his stint. Remember, Andrew Lau will be getting into the car here in about 8 laps, but we are about to start seeing the second round of pit stops. Titus Sherlock has now moved into 10th and sets his sights on Giancarlo, just 5 seconds ahead. However, based on the numbers, he will have to come in about another lap. Really have to hand it to this team. They have figured out the fuel strategy perfectly to continue to do this and advance. It has paid off dramatically in every previous endurance race. They were caught up in some early issues when they went to Mount Panorama, but managed to fight back for a top 10 just based on fuel strategy and speed. Also, don't forget to check out their website, Conliff eSports.com. Check out all their future events they have planned to run and their partner, Advanced Sim Racing. The leader coming down toward the entrance to pit road. He is not in this time, but we should start seeing drivers hit pit road this time. Likely to see the leader in next lap. The next car on that shorter pit strategy is Jean Reyes in 7th. And he is coming in. You have to wonder, does the leader have the fuel to make it around one more time? That moves Giancarlo up into 8th place. The leader likely to be in this time. Much of the top 10 will be in the next 2 laps. This will also be when Giancarlo comes in about 6 laps. This will be the first driver change for the Conliff eSports team. The leader is on pit road. The second round of pit stops are underway. He was able to stretch a little bit further than that first stint. And the 5th place team is also in. And the car that was right closing in on Giancarlo, Titus Sherlock, also in. As there has been a wreck back behind. Oh, coming through that kink. Wow. Drifts wide several cars right behind. That Mercedes has been running second place all morning long. Likely to see that team in this time. Actually, that Mercedes may be able to go 1 or 2 more laps, but several more of the cars in the top 5 likely to come in this time. Pit road is definitely getting busier very quickly. The current leader did not come in, but the second place team is in now. As is the fourth place team, Levi Neal. Jack Wells stays out. Giancarlo stays out. That moves Giancarlo now up to fourth as the Conliff eSports team's fuel strategy continues to move them forward through the field. Starting to see a few more driver changes here, as a lot of the back half of the field is also in. Pit road very, very busy at the moment, as Giancarlo is just about caught up to Jack Wells. He's been chasing him throughout this stint. And the Mercedes is in. The second place team is on pit road. Jack Wells comes to pit road. Giancarlo moves to third. And it looked like the Audi back in 13th had a problem a moment ago. He is still moving forward though. Giancarlo comes through Eau Rouge as cars come off pit road back behind. Remember, these cars are not ones he is running against at the moment, but they will have fresh tires, so you have to wonder how hard he will give, how hard of a time he's going to give them. The current leader also extending his fuel run will likely be in this time. Giancarlo, if this fuel strategy continues, has 2 more laps before his pit. That BMW currently has the lead. Giancarlo currently sits in second. After pit stops now, the lap traffic will become a much bigger issue once again with all the different fuel strategies playing out. The leader did not pit again. Has the current leader found a way to stretch his fuel further than his team did on the first run? The current third, fourth, and fifth place cars now on pit road. Colin Arnold is back in the lead car. He will likely reclaim the lead after the current top two hit pit road. Whoa, the leader stuck in heavy lap traffic. Tapper managing to get through all of that. Some very close calls there. Great driving. The leader is in. Giancarlo in lap traffic. He is able to stay out. And Giancarlo will reclaim the lead here. Nobody coming off pit road at the moment. He is safe from that. But still has to worry about the lap car ahead. He goes to the high side. Finally getting past that Mustang. And the Conliff eSports team is back out front. Giancarlo has led the team since the drop of the green, avoiding the early race chaos, playing their fuel strategy and maintaining pace has put the team into the top 10, but where will they be when Andrew Lau brings it off pit road here in a few moments? Will Giancarlo be in this time? Will he go another lap? Giancarlo brings it in. Their second pit stop, their first driver change, and we will get a word with Giancarlo in a moment. Andrew Lau will be taking the car now. And the question becomes, where will he come out? The long, slow drive down pit road after so many laps here at Spa at speed. Giancarlo is in, 4 tires and fuel. Andrew Lau now in the car. As Colin Arnold reclaims the lead. The Mercedes reclaims second. Brian Wirtz now to third. Andrew is on his way out. 4th place goes by. Ben Bream on his way down to take 5th. Lau coming up to speed. And it looks like Andrew Lau will come out potentially in 8th place. But he will have a car right on his bumper for 9th, and he slings by. Andrew holds on to 9th place, still in the top 10. Let's talk to Giancarlo. Giancarlo, a great start to the morning.
Yeah, it's feels good. We gained a bunch of positions at the start. Not such a great qualifying, but we missed. I took to the escape road for the big crash at the start, so I'm glad we were able to keep the car clean.
Well, so far so good. The fuel strategy also working extremely well. You've got the car sitting in the top 10. Andrew takes over, still holds on to 9th. As the race goes on, what are your expectations?
Hopefully we just keep things consistent, easy, safe laps, but still keeping some pace. Really, at a 24-hour, the main part is just keep the car clean and stay consistent. And we have a bit of a fuel-saving strategy going on here, which not many other people do, so it might be some delayed gratification to see the effect of that at the end of the race.
Well, it does seem every pit stop you guys pick up a spot or two, and obviously just the huge speed you've had here is moving you forward as well. Especially that last couple of laps, it seemed like you picked the pace up.
Yeah, I did. I saved, I think, a bit too much fuel at the beginning of my last stint and realized I could push a bit. And so I went for it. Something to keep in mind for the next time I'm in a car, that I can just push a little harder for the whole stint.
Well, man, a great job, a great start to the race. I'm sure you need a bit of a break. Congratulations on an awesome start.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
Andrew Lau now in the car, currently in 9th place. And folks, we will leave you here, but we will provide updates on Facebook and Twitter as the day goes on. Make sure you're following us there, and we will see you tomorrow morning for the finish of the race. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning. Have a great day, everybody.